Well, it won't be long before municipal elections take place across Alberta. They are coming up on October 20th. And today we have the opportunity to speak with one of the numerous candidates who have already started their campaigns to run for a seat on City Council in Lethbridge. And he might already be a familiar name to you if you listen to local radio at all. Today we are talking to Ryan Mennie. He joins me right now in studio. Ryan, welcome to Bridge City News. Great to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, okay, so for those of us who don't, or for some of the viewers who don't know you, tell us a bit about yourself. What's your background? What kind of experience are you bringing to the table here?
So I grew up in Lethbridge, went to LCI. I actually was raised in Sterling, and then my grandparents were here, and we'd come into the city all the time. And in the 80s, late 80s, we moved here. I've lived on every side of town, the north side, the south side, while I was going to school at LCI, and then taking the radio program at Lethbridge Community College at that time.
Back then,
It's had some name changes since then.
For sure.
And then my career took me away to a couple of radio stations here in southern Alberta. And then opportunity struck, and I had the chance to open up some new radio stations on Vancouver Island.
Okay.
I blinked. 20 years passed.
It happens.
Lethbridge has always been home. You know, this is where I still have family and many friends, and it was a little bit of a time capsule to watch it from afar change and grow over those years. And it was always my intention to come back. I came back 11 years with my wife and our 2 little kids that we had on Vancouver Island. We've had a third since, so you know, we've got 3 kids, family of 5, and yeah, I've got a really strong connection with this community. That this is, you know, I've lived many places over the years, but this is what I call home.
For sure, yeah. So what sparked you to throw your hat in the ring for Lethbridge City Council?
First off, so on Vancouver Island, in Campbell River specifically, I lived there for 16 years. Was on the air that entire time there at the local radio station, but it was a decade in that I saw a gap in the team that was helping run the city on council, and so I decided that was the time to run. I'd been involved in the community in many capacities before, both in Campbell River, back here in Lethbridge as a youth as well, whether it was in the with Air Cadets or with community TV stations that I volunteered my time with. And on the island, I was, my wife and I were Sunday school teachers and dog walkers with the SPCA, and Canada Day committee member for many, many years.
Nice.
So this was an extension of being involved in a community that I had a connection with. I was successful in my run, and I ended up as a 2-term city councillor. So I've got experience under my belt. Coming back to Lethbridge, that wasn't my intention. I wanted to refocus on my day job, my regular career. And it's now that I have a family of 5, and I've seen how this community has changed and grown, some for the better, some other things that need some attention over the last 11 years, that the biggies that jumped out at me. It's 2025. I saw someone post a meme yesterday of, these are the popsicles we're handing out that represent 2025. It was a red onion and a sour lemon inside a popsicle. That sums up some of the sides of 2025 and what we've been going through. And so the big issues that I have experience with, unfortunately, when I got on council that first time in 2008, the world economy had collapsed, and our local resource economy had collapsed, the forest industry on Vancouver Island. And so we lost big paying jobs at the pulp mill that had been there for 60 years. It closed down. The sawmill that had been there for 50 years. It closed down. So as a new councillor, I was going through a trial by fire, you know, a school of hard knocks of how do you keep this community alive. You've lost millions of dollars in revenue, in jobs, you know, of people that are going to have to leave if they can't find local work. And so that was the start for me, was going through, okay, what beyond the normal concerns of a city council, we had to fight for our community to survive.
So you're used to fighting for your community.
Yes.
And you sat two terms there, right?
Yes, yeah. So in BC at that time.
Very young,
yes,
17 years ago?
Yeah, so I got in 2008 and wrapped up in 2014, the same year that I moved here. And at that time, the terms were 3 years long. So it was a very active 6 years. And so Things seemed okay here in Lethbridge. I've always championed Lethbridge as a diverse community, a diverse economy. So much great stuff going on here. We're a post-secondary community, not only working on the radio here for about 8 years in Lethbridge, but also the last 4 years I've been in business development and training at Lethbridge Polytechnic. We have the post-secondary school system here. We're a school town. We have the agri-food hub, and the ag sector. We have manufacturing. All three of those things have been hit in 2025.
Yeah, no.
So it was that big eye-opener, along with affordability for families. That's my life. I live that.
Yeah.
And so I started not only experiencing that, but hearing that from other people. And those two indicators, those two big signals were like, okay, it's time to see if I can put my experience from a similar era in a different community to work for my hometown.
Yeah, no, why not? It's perfect timing to, and of course you went full circle with the college and Polytechnic there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So what are your big issues, if you were to get into council, what are your big issues that you want to tackle? I understand like keeping taxes down is one of them.
Taxes is a piece of it, and that fits into, there's the business community, what's working for them, what isn't working for them, but even more so door knocking last night. A dad who looked like he had a similar situation to mine on the west side. He said, my wife has a good paying job, I have a good paying job. I saw he had a for sale sign, and I said, as I was door knocking, are you moving in, moving out? Yeah. They're moving out to a larger home, but he was already feeling the impact at his current home and is sticker shocked by his current property taxes for that new home. And this is something that's come into play. It's a wonderful thing that for investors, property value has gone up in Lethbridge. The downside to that is our taxes are related to the value of your home. And with that, some policies that were made several years ago of a flat rate of how much taxes were going to go up maybe didn't take into account the incredible rise in value that Lethbridge properties have had. Just last week, Lethbridge became the second most expensive city to buy a home in Alberta, right behind Calgary. So that's a new situation. That's a new situation for this current council. They probably made decisions based on things. In fact, they did make decisions based on our community 5 years ago to set those policies, and those policies need a look at very quickly. Yeah.
Do you think the city should cut back on spending of certain programs? Do you think that would help?
It's always hard, and I'd say that was the hardest part of the job. 6 budget sessions that I went through in those 2 terms on city council in Campbell River on Vancouver Island before moving back here. It's so hard because you know what's important to the community. You're immersed in the community. Yeah. You know what we need, what we'd like, and yet still you might find yourself in a situation where tough decisions have to be made. I am trying to come at this in a new way, in that it seems like there's 2 options: raising taxes or cutting services. I am someone who looks for other types of solutions. Do we bring in more businesses? Do we change the model? Do we fight for shovel-ready projects that are important to this community, going after different levels of government? And so taking all of the off of the taxpayer from shouldering the complete running of this city, and those finances that are required. I'm very interested in looking at creative solutions. Yeah,
obviously you want to see the city prosper. Any ideas on how to attract business investment here?
There is some good work being done. Economic Development Lethbridge does a lot of great work. It's stepping that up, and that's what I feel that I can bring to a new council in the fall for the next 4 years. Is for your community, as a leader on council, you need to be, at times like this especially, when we're dealing with the challenges that 2025 have brought us specifically. You need to be a cheerleader for your community, and you need to be a championing, the the great assets that your community has for businesses that aren't already here,
Right.
and working harder with your other levels of government, provincial and federal, to find those creative solutions, and having talked to industry and other people, finding out what their true needs are, working with those other partners like never before. It's a time of high need.
Yeah, for sure. Any thoughts on how to deal with the U.S. tariff situation that's sort of impacting our local manufacturing sector?
So that's part of that
Yeah.
lemon-filled popsicle of
With the
2025,
onion.
and that's a biggie. That in a way that no one could see coming, was similar to what happened when I was a new councillor on Vancouver Island. Got a story that I got to share with you and your viewers from one of my first strategic planning sessions as a new councillor. So the facilitator would come into the room, and before he would say, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? Let's talk about what's important. Let's talk about what the voters wanted to. He said, I'm going to tell you a story. And this really happened. He said, East Coast community in Canada ran for city council, talked to their neighbors and their friends, found out what was important to them. They want better snow removal, they want nicer sidewalks, they want better local theater, whatever. Those particular issues that they engaged the citizens, they got voted in on that platform, and they wanted to get to work. And then a very large dead whale washed up on the beach.
Oh, no.
And that is not something that anyone campaigned on.
Could foresee happening, right?
That's not anything that anyone could foresee happening.
Right.
But they had to deal with it. And as time went on, it became a stinkier problem to deal with. And the reality was there was time
It was a fishy situation.
and cost and a fishy situation that no one asked for, but
Oh, boy.
it was in front of them. It was a big problem, and they had to deal with it. So what I learned from that wonderfully insightful strategic planner was be prepared for something to come, out of the woodwork that you could not see happening, and find a way to deal with it. And so finding a way to deal with this situation that we find ourselves with, again, back to the community that we make so much here in manufacturing. We grow so much here, for the rest of the country and the world. And our biggest customer down south has changed that relationship. This is a time of great need, great creativity, and great collaboration to find other answers. There are some people that are working at it right now, but in a position on council, this is when, in a once in a generation issue for this community, you need those leaders and those champions with looking for those solutions.
Yeah, definitely curveball has been thrown.
Yeah.
yeah, no, exactly. Many candidates are voicing the need for more transparency from council. Any ideas on how that can happen?
So that's another byproduct of society. There's a lot of people that don't even understand what your municipal council does, and if they do, they do want a better connection. Door knocking yesterday, there's a lot of people that I saw both of it. People are like, well, I've never had anybody come by my door or chat with me. I've also, we don't know much of what's going on, and so communication, whether it's face to face, whether it's being out in the community and seeing people on a regular basis, or as a former media guy, there are so many different ways to connect with people. That's a plus. And the hugest challenge as well is, we have different generations in Lethbridge. They all consume that information in a different way. So yes, there's a great communications department at the City of Lethbridge, but the onus is also on the councillors themselves to be continually connecting with people, not just at election time.
Right. Ryan, we're out of time, unfortunately. So many questions I have here for you, but good luck in October and all the best to you. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Ryan Mennie is a candidate for Lethbridge City Council. That election is coming up October the 20th.